Right? We're here because we know about this. We're ready to defend democracy.
Just lay it down.
Defend democracy, everybody. All right. First of all, being here, just by being here, you're making an important statement. You're showing yourselves, all these other people, and the people going by that defending democracy is important, and this date is important. We need to defend democracy over the next year or two especially. And this is a critical period in our history. All right, so my three quick things, because I know who the hell wants to listen to me talk very long. First, stay informed and stay involved like you've been doing. Get involved in your local town committee or other groups that are defending democracy. If you don't want to work through the Democratic Party, work through other groups. But reach out and get involved. Here in Massachusetts, we have less problems than other states, frankly. I think we all know that. So we need to extend our reach outside the state, especially to swing states and red states. Which leads me to my second thing. Communication, use of social media, friends and family, talk to them, especially if they live in red states. Talk to them about what's going on. I know it can be difficult. All right, but if they've been exposed to the big lie, you have to fight the big lie with the big truth, right? The big truth, the big fact, that fights the big lie. That's what we got to do, folks. And you have to do it with your family and friends, even if it's painful. We don't really have any choice anymore. Be civil, be nice, don't get into name calling, be factual. But at least try to expose them to something else. All right, so that's staying involved. What was my third thing? All right, hold the media accountable. They finally figured out that there's no such thing as hyper-partisanship. One party wants authoritarianism, and the other party is fighting to defend democracy. It's not a matter of two sides balancing out. If you see the media that hasn't learned that lesson yet, you need to reach out to them as a consumer and say, you guys don't know what you're doing. You're presiding over the death of democracy by your ignorance and laziness. Don't be lazy media. The other thing is, communicate yourself through social media and work on that. But again, be factual. All right, thank you, folks. You've heard enough from me. Carry on. Great job.
To Heidi.
Hello, everybody. My name is Heidi. I'm with the Boston Mayday Coalition. This is Lloyd, also with Boston Mayday Coalition.
Nice to meet you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Druba, for hosting this important occasion. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA.
No Trump,
no KKK, no fascist USA.
So that was Rob, Ashland Select Board. Daniel Zidnick, are you here? So Daniel is an activist from Natick, and we know what happened in Natick, right? Let Daniel speak about that.
All right. Thank you, Druba. I'm Druba's friend from Natick, and I'm really here because of what Druba mentioned there in Natick. We have a sitting town meeting member who not only participated in the insurrection, but organized bus loads of people to go down there from Massachusetts. So disgusting. Yeah, the Happy Fun Group. So I just kind of want to reiterate what the previous speaker said, and just it's important to focus on at the national level, but really we also need to be hyper focused on the local level. Get to know who your representatives are. Vote in, get to know the issues and vote in your local elections, right? And encourage your friends and family and everyone to vote, to participate in those elections. All right. Sorry, I'm not a big public speaker, but thank you. Thank you, Druba.
So next we have Tammy Guerra, state rep from Concord, Acton, I think that area. And I would invite Shaw to introduce her more fully. Shaw is from Indivisible Acton.
Hi, I'm Shaw Yang, Indivisible Acton area. The January 6th insurrection was a failed coup attempt, but they're still working at it. This threat, this attack is still happening. And our leaders need to stay strong and defend our democracy. With that in mind, I am so honored to introduce the guest speaker today. That's Dr. Tammy Guerra, Tammy is my state representative, Middlesex 14th. She's also currently running for the lieutenant governor seat in Massachusetts. Yay, Tammy. Tammy is a courageous, bold leader and a champion of democracy and transparency at the State House. Today, more than ever, we need her to fight and defend democracy, our precious, fragile democracy. We really need all our leaders to fight hard. So here's Tammy Gover. I should say Dr. Tammy Guerra. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaw. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's my honor to join you. But I'll be quite honest, I, like many of you, probably just feel like, why the heck do we even need to be here in the first place? We know exactly what happened last year, and while we're gathering here and all across the Commonwealth and across the country to commemorate this really dark day in America's history, we have our pro-Trump Republican friends who are celebrating, hosting fundraisers, even right here in our own state of Massachusetts. And so when we say that there's a lot at stake, we truly, truly mean that. There's a lot at stake right here in the Commonwealth. It was a year ago that I was getting sworn in for my second term as a state representative, and within an hour after getting sworn in and feeling optimistic and hopeful about where we were headed as a country and as a state, my partner called me in and said, "You have to see what's happening on TV." And I, like so many of you, was probably immobilized. I couldn't even sit down. I was so anxious and worried about what might unfold over the course of the day with the mob, the terrorizing mob that busted down the windows, busted through the police barricade, and was just minutes from reaching our precious members of Congress who have been duly elected democratically and who are in the process of certifying the votes, the will of the people. And that process has been untarnished since 1801 and even a little bit earlier, and the whole transition of power has occurred peacefully every single time since 1801. So what we see here is in the insurrection that was led and really rallied by Trump is that we have to keep doing this. We're gonna have to keep showing up, standing with our neighbors, standing with our friends, with our family members. Like someone said when I arrived, holding the press accountable. This is not a both sides thing. This is our democracy. America was an experiment in democracy, and it is so incredibly fragile right now. And if you read what some of the experts, international experts say, who study democracies and study the fall of democracies, they say that we are at a real dangerous point. And so we have to, in our own state, fight for voter protections, fight to make sure that we are passing the Votes Act so that we can have mail-in voting, same-day registration. The list goes on in terms of what we need right here in our own state, while also supporting our friends and neighbors and family members all across the country. So I'm just grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you're out here in the cold and that you'll be standing with us. We know that we have millions of people across the country who do not buy that this was just a rally or something innocent, or that Trump didn't stoke fear and anger. We know, and millions of Americans know, exactly what's at stake. And I'm just grateful that you're here. I look forward to connecting with you while I'm here for a little bit, and just thank you for your efforts, and I look forward to seeing you through this election. Oh, and that's one other thing I want to say, sorry, one other thing. When you think about our elections this year, we have at least 2 women of color who are running for governor. We have potentially a gay woman who has truth Trump so many times successfully, who is possibly running. That means that we are already in a pretty dangerous place when it comes to our election cycle this year. So I ask you to be part of making sure that our elections are fair, that they're safe, because we have people who are putting themselves out there to run for office And we already know that we're getting attacked. Look at what happened with Mayor Michelle Wu when she was swearing in the city council, getting booed and getting heckled over and over again by the anti-vaxxers. Many of them also spurred by, folks on the Republican side who are running for governor as well. So we know that this is something that is also important for us to pay attention to here, and I would feel remiss if I didn't mention that as we head into this election cycle. So I thank you all, and I look forward to speaking with you more.
We are here to mobilize, fighting back against their lies. We are here to mobilize, fighting back against their lies.
Next would be Lincoln from Natick. He's a youth leader and activist leader of AON.
Thank you, Germain. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're all warm. I know I'm not, but that's okay. It's more important to be out here and showing solidarity and unifying as a community around this very special day. So, like Druba said, my name's Lincoln and I'm from Natick. I'm currently a freshman in college. And a year ago today, I remember sitting at my desk doing homework and looking up from my computer and seeing thousands of people storm into the Capitol. And I remember being scared and fearing for not just the people in the Capitol and for their safety, but for the safety of our democracy. The story of our nation has been a battle for the full enactment of the rights and values instilled in our founding documents. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement, Americans have put their differences aside to fight for the greater good and to fight for progress and to fight for their rights that were stolen. Just like then, America today is going through a profoundly challenging phase in its existence, in which democratic legitimacy is tanking. As more Americans, both right and left, grow disenfranchised and distrustful in the system, as well as each other, the less hope America has of being a thriving democracy. Democracy in the United States could and will seek to exist if we do not stand up and fight for it. I'll wait for the train. Wonderful public transportation. Right. All of the issues that we care about will mean nothing if we cannot preserve the method of getting them solved. We need to stand together and say that what we saw last year was shameful and un-American. January 6th was a cry of desperation, a cry of hopelessness, and it showed us just how fragile our democracy could be. When I look back on that date, I want to say that that was the moment our eyes were opened to the failures of our institutions, and that was the day that we worked to correct them. Dr. King said that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice, and that was true then as it is today. We will get past this moment of division, we will preserve and protect voting rights, and we will build an America that we can all be proud of. And for this to be true, we must stand up for what we believe in, for not just the rights of ourselves, but the rights of our neighbors. We must fight for progress, fight for everyone's voice to be heard and everyone's vote to be counted. And we must fight for a democracy that represents all and disenfranchises none. When I look back on this day, I want it to be not a day of mourning and sadness, but a day of unity and hope. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Folks, could I just take one quick minute, please? I'm former Senator Dave Magnani. I served Framingham for 20 years. I want to congratulate you for being out here today. We don't have enough of you out here, but the ones who are here show their dedication to the democratic process and to democracy itself. So let me personally thank you for making this effort. Second reason I wanted to grab the mic was because there's a group out there called Together We Elect that I've become a part of, and we are working primarily to try to win the midterms this year to make sure that the Republicans don't take over this country in 2 years. Now, what you can do very specifically, if anybody's interested in talking to me afterwards, we've organized a group. Together We Elect is a large national group, but we've organized a Massachusetts group and a MetroWest group to be part of Together We Elect. And we're meeting, every month we meet as a larger group, and we have a smaller group that meets every 2 weeks. Basically, what we're asking you to do is to help us win the swing states by fighting voter suppression in the swing states, which the Republicans have been doing incredibly well. And we're working with the ACLU, which has a national effort to fight voter suppression across the country. And they're doing a very good job, but they need help. They need money, they need people, they need volunteers. And secondly, we're working with Together We Elect so that we can begin to put volunteers in the swing states that we have to win if we're going to protect the House and the Senate. So if you can get in touch with me after I close my remarks, I'll try to let you know how to get involved. But thank you very much for coming tonight and showing how committed you are to American democracy and making sure that we defeat this effort to overthrow our blessed, blessed country. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what America looks like. This is what America looks like. Show me what solidarity looks like. This is what solidarity looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what America looks like. This is what America looks like. Show me what solidarity looks like. This is what solidarity looks like.
One more call, Dave Doucette, City Councilor from Marlborough. Oh, there you are. Good. So this is Dave Doucette, City Councilor from Marlborough.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. I think it's important that we all speak out for what's going on. You know, what had been going on a year ago down in Washington. It's not just the events of January 6th, it's also the events that built up to that event. You know, democracy is not a spectator sport. We need to take action. And when we take action, we typically take it in peaceful means. You know, back in 2016, there was the Women's March in January 20th, I think, which was a huge rally worldwide in protest of Trump. No one got hurt. Everything was peaceful. And, you know, when it came to Trump, you know, relinquishing control, he got a bunch of his friends to show up with violence to actually get this. And that's not what democracy is about. It's about the peaceful transition in power. And that is important. So hopefully Congress will take action and we'll start seeing some people held accountable for what happened at that day. And in the meantime, you know, the best we can do is action like this, peaceful protest, and be aware of what's going on. So, thank you.
United will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. People united will never be defeated.
The people
united will never be defeated.
Harris has a few words.
Well, hi there. My name is John. I'm with the Boston Mayday Coalition. And I want to thank Druba for organizing this gathering. You know, I'm over in Boston, and they decided to go virtual tonight at this time. But I'm so glad that folks are coming out here for real. You know, I mean, these groups that stormed the Capitol, in particular the Proud Boys, what do we call them? They're fascists. The Oath Keepers, they're fascists. You know, the 3%ers, they're fascists. This is a movement, you know, it exists in this country. It's not going to go away easy. We're living in a crisis, in my opinion. It's a social crisis. In particular, the death toll in the United States from the coronavirus has far surpassed the total number of deaths in this country from World War I, World War II, the wars in Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan combined. It's now approaching 850,000 deaths in this country. That is a social crisis. The depth of this crisis was underscored when fascist lackeys of Trump and Wall Street took over the Capitol on January 6, 2021, in an effort to steal and overturn the election. In the face of all this deaths, these wannabe dictators have campaigned against wearing masks, against taking vaccines, and against building social and material infrastructure. The attack on the Capitol is but a prelude to what we face in the future. This country will not return to the good old days or normal politics. The days ahead will be those of social conflict and class struggle.
Yes! Yes!
The fascist movement seeks over time to smash the unions and the anti-racist movement, to steal elections and eliminate the right of working people and the oppressed to organize independently. Wall Street and their political duopoly in Washington, they're not going to be able to break the teeth of fascism. Fascism cannot be voted away. It's a social movement with one foot in the streets and the other foot in so-called respectable society. Fascists in the police force in top positions allowed entry into the U.S. Capitol on January 6. Politicians openly defend the fascist movement. As Wall Street and their government continue to drive against us, we must stand up and fight against the attacks. The ultra-rightist movement will continue to stand in favor of the attacks on immigrants, the attacks on oppressed layers in this society. I don't need to go through it all. I think you all are well aware of that. In order to combat this trend, in my view, working folks, oppressed social layers, we need to organize independently of Wall Street and Washington. We must mobilize around our just demands. We must continue to defend workers, unions, black folks, migrants, immigrants, women, LGBT folks. We must stand up for health care and education, housing and jobs. We must fight against police brutality, climate change, wars and occupations as well. The oppressed will continue to demand justice. The police and courts will continue to coddle and defend ultra-rightists and fascists. We must break from the broken ideology and profit-driven priorities of the system. Fascism will be a fight against the attacks that are coming down, whether it be from Wall Street or the government. The fight will have to be led by us, working folks, oppressed people. And we have to decide which side are we going to be on. When Trump was impeached, I think it was Adam Schiff said, well, are we going to return to are we going to be a banana republic? Well, guess what? This government has been supporting undemocratic regimes in Latin America and around the world. This is the training ground for Trump's thugs, all right? They look down south of the border. And so our policy, the policy of this country, around the world, in particular in Latin America, has to change. And this country needs to begin supporting democracy and freedom in countries around the world instead of propping up dictatorships and autocracies. Thank you, and I want to again thank Druba for organizing this.
Thank you, John, for the whenever I try to speak, this train comes and my goodness. Now.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, voter suppression got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, voter suppression got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, voter suppression got to go.
Danny.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Actually, I'm kind of freaked out. So it's great that we're all here together in this vigil against what we saw last year around this time. I have a few comrades here. We were all out this day. I think it was a long day. I think we went out early. You remember we went out to one standout on January 6th, and we knew at that time that something was going to go down on January 6th because we were out in the community all through 2020 after the murder of George Floyd, and made sure to go out and just be in the community to see what happened, and what we found was an element that all the way to January 6th, we kind of saw this element of movement of now, the FBI now talking about, Proud Boys and the 3%ers, and we know some of those people that were at the Capitol on January 6th. And I want you guys to really understand something, right? So the reason why that almost coup happened was because the procedural coup failed. Okay? Understand that they resorted to violence. So we gotta understand that in the next 2 years, okay? We have elections coming up. You have to understand. Some of the people that were down there have not been held accountable. A lot of people. Actually, one of them is running for governor. Okay, her name's Diana Ploss. If you don't know that name, get to know that name. All right? I want you all to know, okay, and understand that a procedural coup failed, okay? And so they resorted to violence, okay? And some of them have been prosecuted. But check this out. I want you guys to understand. There was a woman that was down at the Capitol who had selfies in front of windows and all that, and she got charged with trespassing on the Capitol on that day. Do you know what her sentence was? She got 60 days. 60 days for trespassing. So you guys gotta understand. I mean, that's why I gotta laugh. Like, I have to laugh to myself because sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind. We went through Trump, okay? We went through that. He unleashed some unexplainable fuckery, excuse my language.
That's right.
That not to say we can't come back from that, but understand that there is an element that's in our country right now. How many people voted? How many people voted for Trump again?
74 million.
74 million. Think about that. So basically, just pay attention to what's going on. I know it's hard to get in contact with your senators and your Congress people and all that, but it's important that we stay out here and you know what, and also to debate people, to debate them with facts. We have to understand that it's not both sides. It's not both sides, okay? One side is willing to use violence to maintain power, and we're not those people. And we gotta make sure that we have conversations with people that still agree and understand what's happening right now, especially in the Senate. So anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. So if anyone else wants to speak and how you feel and please do, because this is not a fun day. This is not a fun day. Thank you.
Say what?
Ain't no palette, tell people, so tell people don't stop.
She's a real leader, you know, without any types of, you know,
Pretensions.
Okay, I'll say a few words about Susan. Susan Lavanabar here is the head of Swing Pool Alliance, used to be Swing Left Greater Boston. That's a huge group that does civism and democracy all around the country. And she and a few others basically coordinate the whole Massachusetts Vigil. This is just one of the many that's happening today. I don't know how, I lost count, maybe 20.
3 or 24 vigils across the state.
So I wonder how many she went to today. But anyway, she's here with us, so we should be very happy. The head of the Swing Pool Alliance is here, okay, Susan Lavanabar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shaw. I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing. This is what's needed. There are people across the state right now, some of them have never been to an event like this before, who are out there saying, we need to protect our democracy. This is a great way to start the year. And stand out there with Druba. He's been doing this for a long time. He's very experienced. And you've got a really great leader here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if you have to look towards a real leader, Susan is somebody who has the real leadership quality. So, if no one else wants to speak, then maybe we hold the candle for some more time, and as people want to wind up and go back, please drop the candles here so that we can slowly wrap up the vigil. Thank you very much.
How you been,